This recipe starts by adding the seasoning to the diced chicken and then just letting it hang out with the dusted flour. I kind of coat a pan with some olive oil, and it's a messy job, so I do use a glove here, and I just try my best to, separate each piece as best as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you'll see that I actually do overfill this pan a little bit more than I would regularly recommend. But you have to remember that as chicken cooks, it does shrink down because it starts to release some of its water. It starts to brown. I just showed you that I did some rice on the side here, so while that was cooking, I had the chicken going. But you really, really want to leave this alone for a good, like 10, 12 minutes, and you can see that I start to get some color on here. Some of the pieces are really nicely golden brown, and that's because that flour is helping with that. But I just let it do its thing. I let it get crispy, and as I move the pan this way, you can see that they start to loosen up, and you just really want to let this go until the majority is cooked. I move it off to the side here. Now, that is not typically recommended. In fact, the recipe calls for removing it completely, then sauteing up your garlic and adding the chicken back in. But let's face it, I was sick, I'm still sick, and I was lazy, and we all have those moments, and it's quite all right. It can also work this way. It's not ideal. You should know the right way to do things. I just have some bagged, I think it was like cabbage and kale in that pan there. But I noticed that the garlic was a little bit sticky there, so I add some water. It's not in the recipe, but it does help to kind of loosen everything up. Excuse me. And it also helps to kind of deglaze some of those brown bits in the pan. And this is the point when I am adding the ketchup, and I'm just eyeballing this completely. Just making sure, do I have enough to make a sauce that's going to coat my chicken? And I mix it up. And I also add some water here because I really want to loosen it up. I want to make sure it thins it out like a sauce. Then I go ahead, I add the chicken back in there, and I'm just going to cook this for another 8 to 10, maybe 12 minutes, because you want to make sure the rest of the chicken is cooked through, and just coat it throughout like that. Meanwhile, I was checking my veggies. My rice was waiting for me nice and warm. And that's it. This turns into a delicious, tangy, garlicky chicken dish that comes together in no time. And I really hope you give it a try because it's so tasty, and it's not something that you would typically think would work together, but it really, really does. Take a look at how it comes together.